Last week, the FBI, under the aegis of the Department of Justice, raided John Bolton, the former national security advisor to Donald Trump during his first term. And they raided his home and his house. And they took away documents which allegedly, the target of the raid were these documents. Bolton was not arrested. He was not indicted. There were no effort aimed at him personally, but the accusation apparently was that he had removed classified documents.
Are more raids like that coming, sir? Are more raids like the one on John Bolton's house coming?
More raids? I don't know. You'd have to ask the Department of Justice. They raided my house, I can tell you that. They did a big raid on my house. They took away everything that wasn't pinned down, and they took away some of that, too.
You know, a lot of people have already looked at this and said, this looks a lot like retribution. Is this retribution?
Well, who has said it looks a lot like retribution, Kristen? A lot of people who tried to throw Donald Trump in prison for completely fake charges that were later thrown out by multiple different courts.
Almost immediately, the left and the Never Trump right said, see, we told you Donald Trump is on a revenge tour. It was Brennan, and then Clapper, then Comey. He'll go after Fauci. Anybody that doesn't have a pardon is fair game. But there's more to the story than that. In 2019, when Trump fired John Bolton as national security advisor, he was writing a book, and he sold that book on the premise that he had been in the room. The title was essentially, This Happened in the Room, or What Happened in the Room. And he took prodigious notes. So he was supposed to be this anti-Trump, high-level appointee and famous in the conservative circles as a war hawk and interventionist, but he had intimate knowledge about how Donald Trump functioned abroad with major allies and enemies and rivals and neutrals, and how he was at home. And he wrote this damning book, memoir, about Trump. The Trump DOJ said he's just trying to write this right during the campaign season, and he's a surrogate for the Biden campaign in his bitterness. He's angry. But more importantly, he is using this classified information through the filter of the notes he took, and he's going to hurt U.S. national security. So they filed, the DOJ, a motion to stop the publication. The book was almost out. A federal judge at Lambert looked at it, and he basically said, well, I can't really stop the book. It's going to be released in a few days. But in kind of a rare excursus, he said, John Bolton, you're doing something wrong. You are violating likely national security laws, and if you don't stop, you'll be subject at some point to criminal prosecution.
Some people say it's retribution. I say, who cares? You know, don't lecture me on timing of lawfare. Don't lecture me on politically motivated, investigations. You guys invented this stuff. You loved doing it to Trump because you didn't think it through. You were so confident that Trump was toast, that you could rattle off free punch after free punch after free punch without any fear of reprisal.
Is Ambassador Bolton being targeted because he's a critic of President Trump?
No, not at all. And in fact, if we were trying to do that, we would just throw out prosecutions willy-nilly like the Biden administration DOJ did, prosecutions that later got thrown out in court. You shouldn't throw people willy-nilly in prison. You should let the law drive these determinations, and that's what we're doing.
Do you think this is a prelude to Brennan, Clapper, Comey, a lot of the other rapscallions who conspired to sabotage the presidency?
When you think about the constant lawfare, the gerrymandering, the Dems never expect it to happen to them. They're like home invaders who didn't expect a well-armed occupant when they showed up. And Trump is well-armed.
I will say that when Donald Trump's home was raided on August 9, 2022, John Bolton spoke out, and he said, let's not prejudge you, basically, you pro-Trumpers. Let's just let all the evidence be seen before we make snap judges, meaning, he's probably guilty. So he was very critical of anybody who objected to what he think was an FBI legitimate raid on Mar-a-Lago. Now it's ironic. We'll see if he uses the same tropes and themes to protect himself in the way that he blasted Trump about a similar raid.
I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter.
The order, according to a court filing, contained a policy statement regarding the use of deadly force.
Crooked Joe Biden's DOJ, in their illegal and unconstitutional raid of Mar-a-Lago, authorized the FBI to use deadly lethal force. Can you believe that?
The Trump administration is serious. The Department of Justice is serious. The FBI is serious about prosecuting the Russia collusion hoax. That is what it looks like.
They are bad people. They're sick. They're sick people. And they came in with their guns into Mar-a-Lago, like 98 people. I wasn't there. Fortunately, I wasn't there. But they are very evil, very sick people, that group. And if they would have won the election, this country wouldn't exist as we know it. This country would have been a failed country. And now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world by far.
But what we're looking at is to see if it was justified or whether it was vengeful. And if it's just about an old matter 4 years ago that the Biden administration, for political reasons, dropped, but a federal judge said, you know what, there's something there, but it was dropped, to go back and rehash that, I don't think is going to be worth it. And maybe it was a vengeful shot across the bow to Bolton. He probably wouldn't be charged, but also to other people like Comey and Clapper and Brennan, Fauci, Mark Miller, all of you, be careful. You've done something wrong and we're going to investigate you, and that's going to cost you a lot of money for legal counsel. That would not be good if that were true. But here's why I don't think it's quite like that. To get the FBI's permission to go into the Bolton home, you had to have 2 different federal judges examine the request, the permission to enter the Bolton home and office, and they did give it, and they're disinterested third parties. Second, why did the Biden administration drop this investigation? They never even told us. And apparently they dropped it because Bolton had become an ally of the left and they did not want to put him in legal jeopardy. And third and finally, there were leaks, rumors that the FBI went in there not to examine the old charges of his notes that were used to improperly to write his critical anti-Trump book, but because there had been allegations for a long time that John Bolton transferred classified information that he should not to his family, as if he could evade surveillance by intelligence authorities of any impropriety. If he did that, and he actually, as some of the rumors say, then it's a different story. That would be new information. So it's either likely something that should not have happened, a vengeful tour, revenge tour, retribution, payback. I think more likely there's something there, or 2, as I said, 2 federal judges would not have given permission to look. And if he did transfer files that were classified, the penalties fall under the Espionage Act, and they can be over 10 to 20 years in imprisonment. So we'll see what's going to happen. But meanwhile, the left is alleging retribution, and the Trump DOJ and FBI said, just hold it, hold it, hold it. Wait till you read the actual request for an intervention or a so-called raid, and let's see what we've found, and then make an assessment.